The apocalypse will begin in only a few months' time, says Baba Vanga, who has predicted the end will commence in 2025. All right, it's a fun story, ladies and gentlemen. It's kind of a scary story, considering that we're actually facing World War III. But Baba Vanga is dead. She's been dead for a long time. But she did make a series of predictions, most of which did not come true. But because some are lining up with current events, well, a broken clock is right twice a day, they say. People are actually suggesting that Baba Vanga may be correct. And, I kind of hope she's wrong. But some of her predictions are so fun. Like, we're going to explore Venus. And then in the year 3000, we go to war with Mars. And these are certainly fun and exciting prospects for humanity. Let's entertain Baba Vanga's prediction. So here's the story from the New York Post. It's the end of the world as we know it, or is it? Baba Vanga, also known as Vangelia Pendeva Gushtarova, was a blind Bulgarian clairvoyant widely known for her alleged powers of precognition. The so-called Nostradamus of the Balkans, a reference to the famed French astrologer, is said to have predicted 9/11 and the war in Ukraine per The Sun. The mystic healer died in 1996, but the psychic's followers still await some of the predictions she made before her death. In fact, some reports have claimed that Vanga warned the world would end in 2023 due to nuclear bioweapons. Nuclear bioweapons? Like viruses that have radiation? And a solar storm. Okay, well, that didn't happen. Here we are. And there is no official recording of her premonitions and their veracity. However, the latest of Vanga's eerie predictions that have resurfaced is her claim that the end of the world will start in 2025, according to various reports. Now, these are her followers. My understanding is basically saying, she said this thing was going to happen, and it's like, okay, here we go. But it's fun anyway, right? Humanity won't be wiped out until 5079. But the beginning of the apocalypse will begin in 2025, allegedly, according to Vanga. So what does that really mean? That the world won't end till 5079, but the apocalypse starts some 3,000 years before that? Ah, come on. We're not going to be in a 3,000-year apocalypse period unless, everyone's just burning in hellfire or something. Yeah, no, people are going to get by and they're going to live their lives. The average lifespan won't come anywhere near this. So for most people, why would they think they were in an apocalyptic period? Well, here's Baba Vanga's timeline of the end of humanity. In 2025, a conflict in Europe will devastate the continent's population. Yeah, I guess that's one that people are actually really concerned about. British Army chief warns 5 years to prepare for World War III with world facing a new Axis power. While there are fears that World War III may already have begun or may be beginning, it's certainly not going to be 2025, according to all these assessments. But hey, maybe. If NATO gets involved in Ukraine and Russia pushes back, China aligns with Russia, we could be looking at World War focused on the Eastern European front in 2025. That's why this story exists, because people are like, that's kind of a possibility. 2028. Okay, so 3 years after Europe's population is devastated, humans will begin to explore Venus as an energy source. Okay, what does that mean? Let's do a quick Google search. Potential energy source on Venus? Is that? Venus atmospheric pressure is 92 times that of Earth's. 97% carbon dioxide. Thick clouds prevent much sunlight from reaching the surface. So any life would have to depend on chemical energy. Venus has many potential energy sources, including solar, electric field, ionosphere, sulfuric acid clouds. The electric field. Here we go. Ionosphere of Venus is a rich source for hot photoelectrons that escape down the plasma tail. How are we going to source energy from Venus and bring it to Earth? Don't look at me. I'm sure there's some physicists being like, actually, Tim, it's quite simple. Okay, whatever you think, fine. 2033, the polar ice caps will melt, rising sea levels to drastic heights worldwide. Well, I'll pause that real quick and just point out, the concern is not necessarily the ice cap. It is in the north, it's Greenland. Much of the ice is sitting on land. And in Antarctica, much of the ice is sitting on land as well. And so in the North Pole, it's mostly ice over water, which the ice expands and displaces water. But, maybe, I guess, drastic heights by 2033. We're like a few years away from the ocean levels rising that much. Sorry, I don't believe that. 2076, communism will spread to countries across the world. Agreed. 2130, humans will make alien contact. Okay, that sounds fun. 2170, a drought will devastate much of the world. What? I'm just gonna pause here. Ocean levels are going to rise dramatically, but then 140 years later, a drought will devastate the world. 140 years of technological advancement and desalination and like irrigation and all this technology, I am not convinced that would be the case. Now, to be fair, there will still be underdeveloped portions of the world, so maybe that's what they mean. 3005, Earth will go to war with civilization on Mars. Yeah, I don't know about that one. In 1,000 years, maybe. If Elon Musk actually makes it to Mars, we send a bunch of people and we start colonizing, and then this civilization grows. It's what does that show? The Expanse. They actually have a good idea. It's a good thought experiment, I guess, in what would happen. Any civilization on Mars would be militaristic because the strong must survive. You're going to be living on a red planet with a weak atmosphere, so you're mostly going to be living indoors in biodomes and things like this. You must follow rigid instructions or die. Whereas on Earth, it's abundance. We grow, we expand, we evolve to live in this place, or we were placed here intentionally, whatever it is you believe. And there's fruit and animals for which we can eat many. On Mars, no. It's only what you can bring and grow yourself and contain in these biodomes or underground in large facilities that maybe they'll build. So any civilization on Mars is going to be fiercely strong and independent. That being said, Mars has weaker gravity than the Earth, and so that will play a massive role on bone density and development. Martian, humans that go to Mars over a long enough period of time, I mean, within a generation, you're talking about much lower bone density, much less muscle mass. These people would struggle to live on Earth. People from Earth who go to Mars are going to be able to jump, and they're going to be much stronger. It's actually fairly crazy. But we'll see. By 3797, humans will have to vacate the Earth because it's become uninhabitable. And by 5079, the world will end. Okay, now hold on. Will the world end? Because it sounds like 3797, Earth already ended. Perhaps what they mean is humans will leave, whatever animals are left behind will struggle, and the world ends, meaning Earth becomes a barren rock devoid of life. But humanity won't be gone. If humanity still exists on other planets and travels the stars, humanity will exist. It's an interesting prospect to think about. Imagine this idea. Earth is destroyed in several thousand years, but humanity has developed technology to such a point where we have large ships and space stations that we are able to travel around in. How strange would it be for human life to become dependent upon a construct? Let's imagine a gigantic space vessel in constant need of repairs. The ship, with advanced AI technology, can maintain itself. It travels around seeking out the elements required for its own repairs and conducts most of its own repairs. Humans simply live in this vessel, much like Wall-E, I guess. I don't believe they would all be morbidly obese in the same way because of the fight for survival. But this massive floating human container, what would it do? Well, I can only imagine. This massive vessel would probably deposit human life and other life on various Class M planets. That's what we call it. I don't know if that's an actual term or just a Star Trek thing, but Class M is a planet that could host human life. So imagine this. By the year 4000, humans have rapidly advanced massive technologies, genetic engineering, etc. AI at that point would be so rapidly advanced, probably would be completely integrated with people. And we would have large intergalactic vessels. And just, what do we do? I suppose what would make the most sense is depositing human life on various planets where it can grow and expand to make sure humanity never dies. You'd have this one big ship of massive technology. Makes you wonder. A movie I recommend is Moonfall. And it's basically like the gist of the story. Spoiler alert, the moon is falling. But the moon turns out to be a space station where ancient humans from another planet crafted a bunch of vessels that would terraform it would actually create planets with their massive technology. And that's why Earth and the moon and everything is seemingly so perfect because humans designed it to be that way. And then something happened where humans lost access to the technology, came to Earth, couldn't get back up to the space station. It's a fun movie. They go to the moon and they get inside and there's like spaceships and it's like things humans built a long time ago. It's kind of sad to see, the fall of civilization like that. Now, anyway, I digress. As to whether Baba Vanga is correct, probably not. It's probably just shot content, but it's fun. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.